Hello, beautiful alchemist. Happy September. Again, love, love, love the transitions of energy as we journey through the year and acknowledging all of the ways that the different energies that we do move through support the transition and the growth of our personal paths. So, thinking a lot about that today, and it makes sense that I would be considering that we are in the energy of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury. And this is the essence, the energy that we start the month out in, where we may have a lot of thought and consideration around our routines, our day to day, what will be more purposeful in the actions that we take, really giving attention to detail, anything we want to revise, but having the grace of gratitude for the journey itself, what we're learning along the way, and even the realizations that you're starting to have. In fact, with that, it's coming up to say Virgo is known for being critical, having a critical eye and attention to detail. Now, when we hear critical or criticism, these types of things could have a very negative connotation, but there's an aspect to that energy of having a critical eye or being able to identify how things can be better is actually very supportive for us on our paths. So, with that in mind, if in this energy you start to have some realizations, some recognition of what is no longer serving you, what no longer works, what may need a little bit of tweak or change, maybe you're ready to make some significant change for the sake of things feeling better in your overall life, there's no judgment around that. There doesn't have to be. There's no looking back and regretting or thinking, oh, I should have, would have, could have. Instead, again, have the grace of gratitude for what you realize now, what you did learn in the process, and perhaps whatever you are growing out of or what you're actually growing through right now has served and contributed to you having deeper wisdom and understanding about you, what you want, what matters, and again, what would serve you best and be more purposeful in your life. Thank you, Virgo, for that beautiful energy to support us in these types of clarifications. And happy birthday to all of our beautiful Virgos in the community. So, this month, we are definitely starting out in this having attention to detail, having a critical eye, being more thoughtful, more mindful about what we're doing and what the purpose is behind what it is that we're doing. So, you ready for this? We are coming out of the energy of, can't even think what month we're in, August, Leo. So that Leo energy was really about how we are shining, taking ownership of who we are and our creative energy, and finally saying, this is who I am, and I'm owning it, but it's okay. Again, Virgo says, let's ground it down a bit. Let's look at these things. What is it that you're owning? What is it that you're pouring in your creative abilities into? Are you directing your energy in ways that are actually supporting you rather than just shining and emanating all over the place? Direct it, channel it in ways that will support you. This is the gift of Virgo. So, there are quite a few things. There's only really four main events that we're going to talk about this month. And if you want to take note, be sure you have something to write with. You might want to pause this. But we have four main events. Now, before we get into that, I also mentioned a moment ago that Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury. And a lot of people are familiar with Mercury because of Mercury Retrograde has become a very popular topic whenever it comes around. And in fact, we have a Mercury Retrograde as our first event this month. But the thing about the planet Mercury is it is associated with our communication, our process of thought, with movement. And with Virgo, it's really about us obtaining information that matters, weeding out what we don't need. The interesting thing is that the planet Mercury also rules the sign Gemini. But in that energy, it's like, give me all the information. I am so curious. Keep feeding my mind. Let me talk and know everyone and everything. Whereas in the sign of Virgo, this earth energy, Mercury has more of a stance of, let's just give me the information that I need. Okay. So keep that in mind as you journey through this month, that you may start weeding away, starting to sift through what is excessive and what it is that you may have been gathering, whether information, things, resources, people, and really clarifying what serves me in this moment, what is supporting my path, my vision, what is supporting me in my growth and my expansion. Where do I get most benefit of giving my time and attention, and also the ways that I personally contribute. Those are some more gifts of this season. So Virgo is an earth sign. This is why we're grounding more in after coming out of the fiery Leo energy. We're going to ground into this mode of clarifying and being more thoughtful about what it is we're doing and how. The key is how. But interestingly, the quality of earth that Virgo is, the type of earth energy, is called mutable, which means that it's changeable earth. Now, often when we think of earth, we think very stable, very kind of fixed and controlled, more like a Taurus type of energy. But with mutable earth, again, we're firm, but we're flexible. We recognize that change is necessary. We recognize that change could actually support us in being more rooted, more grounded, more earthly. So there's a lot of kind of this dance of being firm and flexible this month. Check yourself when you feel that you're being too rigid, and recognize ways that some flexibility may support you. So as I mentioned, the first event of the month, we have Mercury going retrograde on September 9th. 9-9. Mark your calendar. And the interesting thing about this, as most of you are familiar with, when any planet goes retrograde, really, we look at the essence of that planet and consider that that energy is going backward or inward. It gives us an opportunity to be reflective about whatever the quality of that planet is, to be more introspective about the themes that that planet may present to us. So Mercury, again, is about our communication, our thought process, even movement, which could relate to travel, all modes of communication, whether digital, electronic, speaking, all the ways that we communicate, right? Now imagine that energy is kind of moving backwards. It can become confused. It can become misunderstood because it's not moving directly forward. It's not necessarily very clear, but it also gives us the benefit, again, to bring the attention in. What are your thoughts? How are you directing your mind? What's coming up for you? What's most significant for you? What is it that you are observing in thought, and how? Anything that may be coming up for you, if it is something from the past, it could be a past situation, past people, even something that is very, very new and current. You still have an opportunity in this energy of retrograde to revise, to revisit, to even reconcile, to come back around and see things from a higher way. Now, that's the key. If something comes back for your acknowledgement, a memory, a person, a conversation, a situation, anything, your first question you want to ask yourself is, how can I see or understand this in a higher way? How can I now start to look at this to better support me, my path, my direction? Is there something that needs to change? Is there something that needs to be released, transformed, healed? Is there something that needs to begin again, but in a different way? Now, the thing about the retrograde is, it will impact all of us differently. This energy shows up for us differently. So don't have the expectation of like, oh my God, Mercury's in retrograde, which a lot of people do. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. Again, this is an opportunity to see things in a different way, to move differently, to make some changes, which again could be great for you. There's a lot of healing that may present itself. In terms of travel and movement and signing contracts, a lot of astrologers suggest that we be mindful of these things during a retrograde because of the potential of miscommunication and misunderstanding. But again, if you have this awareness, just cross your T's, dot your I's, be more mindful, and don't be frustrated when things seem to be misaligned. Instead, recognize it for what it is, take a step back, and acknowledge how you can contribute to clarify, to redirect, whatever it needs to be. Your contribution in all of your situations and communication plays a huge role. So Mercury will be in retrograde again from September 9th all the way until October 2nd. Mark your calendar and notice what comes up for you. It will be retrograde in the planet of Libra to begin with, but then on the 22nd of this month, it will be retrograde in the sign of Virgo. And those are different types of energies. So at the start of the retrograde, because it will be in Libra, it is possible that there is more highlight or attention around resolving past issues, conflicts, whatever it may be, with people, with others, with those that we are in relationship with or were in relationship with. It could bring up themes of what needs to be revised or what needs to be done differently to create more balance and harmony within our lives, really highlighting what is out of balance and what can I do to resolve that. As it starts to retrograde in the sign of Virgo, then again, the nature of the energy is a little different. So during that portion of the retrograde, again, that'll be September 22nd until October 2nd, you may notice that you have maybe some high expectations. Again, having that critical eye, that attention to detail, and expecting high quality results from you, from the universe, from those around you. Be really mindful if you are being overly critical. Be mindful of if you're using a critical eye and having attention to detail, how that information is being communicated and relayed. Is it being relayed in a way that is useful, in a way that is loving and kind and supportive? Or is it being relayed in a way that just feels critical and harsh? It's not always what you say, but how you say it. So be mindful of your expectations and how that information is being communicated. All right. Our next event is just the very next day, September 10th. On September 10th, we have the full moon in Pisces, and I love to call the full moon the queen of the month. And in full moon energy, I always recommend that you consider what you are full of. Are you full of ideas, inspiration, emotion? What is coming up for you? Really acknowledge that. The full moon also represents a cycle ending or completing. Is there something that you have come full circle with? Is there anything that you're finally at the point of, I'm ready for this change. I'm ready to step out of this cycle or phase and start to feel into the next leg or the next phase of my journey or situation, whatever it may be. But when the moon is full, the sun is in its opposite sign. So the sun will still be in Virgo. The opposite sign of Virgo is Pisces. So we have the solar energy of Virgo, very earthy, and this lunar energy of Pisces, water. So internally, we may be very reflective and feeling very intuitive and very tuned into our emotion, but we also have the opportunity to still use that balancing essence of Virgo to be more analytical and more practical. So imagine in this beautiful full moon energy, you have this opportunity to tune into the intuitive mind, your dreams, what you feel called to, being more imaginative, even romanticizing some things, but not too far, using that balance of Virgo to also bring in the analyzer, bring in the practicality. So think of this as during this full moon, you can even start to bring your dreams, your wildest dreams, into a practical vision. It can really be helpful that way. I also think of the full moon in Pisces as a time to think about how to be of service in a more purposeful way. How are you contributing in your life and to whom? How are you giving to yourself, making time for you, your self care, pouring into what will support you again in achieving your goals and whatever it is that you want to experience and express, but also your contributions to others. How are you being of service to your family? How are you showing up in service to friends? How are you showing up in service within the community, your clients, whomever you work for, whatever? What is the role that you are playing? And in your desire, commitment, want to be of service, Pisces will dissolve that that boundary where we could end up giving too much, overgiving, sacrificing ourselves for the sake of being support to everyone else. And a lot of times this is just habitual. For example, sometimes like parents, they really give so much to their family, their children, they're working and then taking care of the kids, and they feel like there's no time for me. They sacrifice the service to themselves and service for others. Well, this is where that Virgo balance again comes in and says, wait, is that practical? Is that really purposeful? No, it's not practical for you to overgive from an empty tank where you start giving and feeling resentful. You don't want to give from a space of resentment. You don't want to give from a space of exhaustion. You don't want to give from a place of frustration because you're not paying enough attention to you. So again, this balance comes in, recognizing where do I really need to care for me as well as care for others, and how there's a beautiful balance in that of this give and take that can support you in ways that are, that at the end of the day, you feel so much better. And it's coming up to highlight in that as well. Be reciprocal, be able to not just give, but also receive support. You can be of service, but also let others care for you in whichever ways that they are capable of or enjoy doing. Be an acknowledgement of all the ways that we serve each other. It's not always exactly what we want, but when we're paying attention, there are so many ways that we are being supported that we should absolutely appreciate. Like the friend who sent a text just to say, "How are you?" That's very kind. Just wondering how you are doing. The person who said hi or spoke to you in kindness at the store. That is a beautiful act of service and acknowledgement. Acknowledge where it comes to you and acknowledge how you display it back. Now, one of the things coming up during this full moon is that not only will the moon be in Pisces, but the planet Neptune, which is the modern ruler of Pisces, will be conjunct. So the moon will be conjunct Neptune, both of these signs in Pisces. I'm sorry, both of these planets in Pisces. So during this full moon, there really may be this tugging, this stirring of feeling like very compassionate and really wanting to give and really wanting to be of service and really wanting to show up and be supportive. But again, like I just mentioned, pay attention to that Virgo influence so that you can be mindful of your boundaries. Be mindful of not over giving to your detriment. All right. So the next event, mark your calendar for September 22nd. There are two things happening on this day. Number one, the sun is going to move out of Virgo. And thank you again for those beautiful gifts and lessons of Virgo. but we will be entering then the season of Libra. So happy birthday to all of our Libras who will be celebrating this month. And we'll talk more about your energy and your sign in October. But the sun will move into Libra on the 22nd. And this is kind of ushering us in away from just whatever we revised and what we became more clear about, and any revisions to our day to day, our routine, our health regimen, feeling more purposeful and inspired by Virgo. Now, Libra is going to invite us to find more balance and harmony within our life, but a lot of focus on the balance and the harmony between how we're relating to others. This could be romantic relationships, but just how you're relating to anyone. There's also this energy of beauty, because Libra is ruled by Venus, the goddess of beauty and love. So there's this you may start to feel in this energy having consideration for how I am presenting myself, how I'm adorning myself, or even if my home feels warm and inviting and welcoming, like where is beauty really highlighting for you in your life? Perhaps you want to go to some museums and admire the art of other people, or start to create your own artwork. It's really about the aesthetic of beauty and what that really does to us. Like, what do you feel when you witness something that you feel is beautiful? Think of like a beautiful day, or you see beautiful flowers, or you hear a child laugh and the sound is so beautiful. Beauty is often connected with automatically to vanity, and that's not necessarily true. Yeah, like, yes, in an extreme case, there can be an association with vanity and beauty, but beauty is a gift, and it's in how we perceive things. Everything and anything can be beautiful based on how you perceive it, based on your level of witness and connection and feeling of appreciation. So, for the example again, you could just look at a flower and see a flower, not think too much about it, and just keep walking. Where in your mindfulness, you slow down and you really admire the beauty of the flower. You admire the color of the petals. You admire the shape of the flower. You may admire the fragrance. All in all, you start to recognize this beautiful manifestation of divine intelligence in the form of a flower, and how delicate it is, but also how strong it must be, and on and on and on. All of a sudden, you're witnessing beauty where maybe you didn't notice it before. So, in the Libra essence, we may have more awareness of what is beautiful to us, but what our relationship is to that feeling of beauty. Also, harmony, balance. Libra is the sign of the scales, and also justice, fairness. So there's a lot. Like I mentioned before, we'll talk more about that energy in October, but that's the energy we will be moving into as we come to the end of September. Now, also on the 22nd is a pivotal day and a shift of season, a shift of energy. It is the autumn equinox. And I'm sure you recognize by now, maybe you never thought of it, I don't know. But every year we have 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices. The winter and summer solstice mark the shift not just in season, but the winter solstice is the longest day, and the winter solstice is the longest night, and the summer solstice is the longest day. Then we have the 2 equinoxes. We have the spring equinox and the fall or autumn equinox. And on these equinoxes, the day and night are pretty much equal in length. So during this autumn equinox, automatically we have this theme, this recognition of the balance between light and dark. Really embracing and honoring the shadow, welcoming it to merge with the light. That point where the light and the dark become one. They work together. There's no separation between the two. What does that mean for you in your life? This is a beautiful time to reflect on all of those parts of you that you may put into darkness, that you may judge or criticize or ridicule, parts of you that you want to not look at, you may be ashamed of, whatever it may be. But allowing yourself again to see in a higher way, to see the lightness of the situation. Perhaps you did the best you could with what you understood at a particular time. Perhaps you made choices, decisions made out of fear, out of worry, out of attachment, but now you understand differently. So now you can bless the past decisions and the past understanding or the past confusion with acknowledging, having gratitude for what you understand now in a higher way, what you may be willing to forgive for the sake of transmutation and healing, what you may be willing to have more compassion towards as it relates to you, situations, and other people, all for the sake of your healing. So there's this balance of light and dark, honoring both, judging neither, seeing the gift of that unification and what can happen in that space. There's also this opportunity in that to acknowledge and have gratitude for just your personal expansion and evolution. Like you are constantly learning, growing, evolving. Yes, what you didn't know before, you just didn't know. The choices you made before, again, whatever reason you did it. But now, from where you sit, what do you understand in a higher way? And how can you have the grace of gratitude for that acknowledgement and then choose to move forward in a higher way? In this, we allow not only the transformation of things, but we can also be really real about what we are ready to allow to fall away during this fall equinox. What are you ready to allow to release? Is there anything that you have been clinging to out of fear, doubt, worry? Are there attachments that have been holding you back? Old stories, old beliefs, old patterns that really no longer serve you? Can you say thank you for the gifts, the lessons, the teachings? Allow them to fall away, allowing those experiences to just nourish the wisdom that you are gaining again, so that you can prepare for the cycle where you will come to a stage of rebirth, rejuvenation, which, we'll get there in the spring. But anyway, it's a beautiful time to harmonize your relationship to self and others as well. We're on this like axis of, when I talk about the equinoxes, we have Libra, and then the spring equinox happens in the opposite sign of Libra, which is Aries. So Aries gives us this opportunity to really acknowledge how we're relating to ourselves, and Libra gives us the opportunity to recognize how we are relating to others. So again, in this beautiful balance, this equalizing state of energy, you can have this consideration about how your relation to self impacts your relation to others, and vice versa, how the relationships in your life are impacting or influencing the way that you are relating to yourself. Where is there a need for harmony? Where can you be grateful? Do the introspection and analyzing for yourself. Now, the final event that we're going to discuss is on September 25th, and that's where we have the Alchemist of the month, also known as the new moon. So the new moon will be in Libra. So again, we're just emphasizing more of this beautiful Libra energy. So during a new moon, the sun and the moon are in the same sign, Libra, rather than opposing signs like what happens in the full moon. So during the new moon in Libra, the new moon is a time where we plant seeds, ideas, new intentions. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to act on everything right away, but just be clear about what new cycles you want to start. Are there new ideas, new points of focus, new experiences that you would like to start pouring energy into? And are there any changes that need to occur to allow room for this or to allow the opportunity for this in your life? Now, that's with the new moon, but with the influence of Libra, you may, again, be more aware of the energy of your relationships, the nature of the relationships in your life. You may be more aware of where things feel balanced or out of balance in your life. So, this gives an opportunity to choose how you're going to be more balanced, how things can be more harmonized, and make sure you're not just pointing the finger at everyone else. Look at you. You're also contributing to every relationship in your life. And how are you doing it? And you can't do it from the space of expecting people to respond a certain way just because you're being who you are being. You have to take full accountability for you are being who you are being because that's what you choose. You are acting in alignment with either your beliefs, your values, whatever it may be, because that is what you choose. It's true to you. It doesn't mean that you can force anyone else to understand or comply with what it is that you desire. So, some relationships we can be in, and there's this agreement to compromise to both contribute to the success, the nurturing, the love within the relationship. Sometimes, but there are times where we may want to pour in, and the other person just doesn't want to, or vice versa. Maybe they want to pour in and you don't want to. So there are so many considerations around what will bring balance and harmony into our lives, what that may look like, and the choices we have surrounding that. So during the new moon in Libra, you may want to consider how you want to move forward in your relationships in new ways, or how you may want to nurture relationships with more clarity. This energy of Libra will also bring in that essence, as I mentioned before, being ruled by Venus, of charm and grace and beauty and comfort. You may want to, during the new moon, set some intent to invite more of that into your life. What makes you feel beautiful? What makes you feel comfortable? What makes you feel joy as it relates to relating to others? And can you consider the beauty and charm of being you in your communication? Sorry, I have a scratch in my throat. Oh, sorry, I am back. Sometimes I forget how much talking by yourself continuously really dry out the throat, and I don't have water with me. Anyway, those are the events for the month. Make sure again you take note. Just to tell you really quickly, again, a quick review. September 9th, we have Mercury retrograde until October 2nd. On September 10th, the full moon will be in Pisces. And then on September 22nd, we have the sun moving into Libra as well as the autumn equinox. And then we have on the 25th, the new moon in Libra. Now, aside from those events, there are some things that will be happening very, very soon. Actually, at the beginning of this month, I will be coming back for season 9 of Reiki Radio. So mark your calendar. The very first episode of the new season will air on September 5th. Now, I will probably share kind of like an intro episode on September 4th. And that's because that is literally the birthday or anniversary of Reiki Radio. I did the first episode September 4th, 2013. So it's mind-blowing to me that this all started 9 years ago. Well, the podcast, not my journey with Reiki, but the podcast started 9 years ago. And I know that a lot of you watching this, that's how you found me and this work. And so I'm so thankful for the community that has grown and continues to grow because of Reiki Radio. But because you are part of the community, I would love to hear from you what you would like to hear, what you would like to learn in season 9. Because one of the things I realized in thinking about the podcast and what it has been over the years, if nothing else, it has been like a teaching podcast. It started out with me sharing my journey with this work, with Reiki, energy work, meditation, all of the things. just being very honest about what the process of healing was like and sharing what supported me. And then I had the beautiful opportunity to start interviewing other healers, authors, teachers, and having them share their insights and teachings with all of us so that we could all continue to learn and grow and exchange from various angles, points of views, systems, practices. And it's just been an amazing ride. But with that, again, I realized that it has been, in a lot of ways, like a teaching kind of podcast built around and centered around community. So I would love to know from you, again, what it is that you want to learn or know more about, hear more about, talk more about as it relates to you, your practice, this realm of spirituality, any particular uh, practices, systems of practice, anything. Feel free to email me. I would really love to know and, you know, do reach out to certain people to make sure that I can have conversations that highlight what will support you. And if there are topics like related to Reiki, things that I'm very familiar with, I will share with you as well. So mark your calendar, September 5th, Reiki Radio. And around that same day, I will finally be publishing the pre-order link for the Energetic Alchemist Oracle deck. I already started to share about the Oracle deck a little bit if you've watched any of the previous Energy of the Month updates. But now it's finally time to share with you in real life. This is the box. On one side, we see part of the card, which is called the Oracle. And then on the other side, we see part of the card, which is called the Seeker. The Seeker and the Oracle really highlight in this deck for me. There are 74 cards, and they are broken down into different sections within the deck. So it comes like this. There are the symbols for the elements on the flap where you open, and it comes with a guidebook. So you don't have to worry if you don't know how to read cards. There's a guidebook that has definitions of all the cards and more information to support you. And then the cards are lying underneath that. And of course, because I love teaching and sharing, later in the year, there will be options to take classes related to the deck if you'd like. There is one class called Seeker, Oracle of the Seeker. My mind just went completely blank. I don't know. It might be Journey of the Seeker and Journey of the Oracle. Don't quote me on the moment. But there will be links and information that are shared with you. The Journey of the Seeker class will be more of a foundational class, helping you to learn how to read cards intuitively so that you go beyond the book and become more familiar and comfortable with reading oracle cards, with tapping into your intuitive nature, learning how to read for yourself, for others, learning all of the basics about reading, like the spreads and the layout of cards. In the Journey of the Oracle, I know it's not what it's really called, but it's something close. In that class, it's actually a Oracle coaching class. So in that class, not only will we go deeper into the hidden meanings within the cards, but there will be more focus on how to actually support and coach your clients using the system of divination. So we can hold space for people in so many ways. And yes, you can do a card reading and just leave it at that. But if you want to integrate this into your actual work, I want to support you in helping you learn how to actually coach with using the cards as just a tool as part of your coaching. So we will talk about how to do this in one-to-one sessions, as well as how to facilitate group sessions. Again, using the cards as a support, but overall the focus will be coaching. So you will have options to join me in either of those classes. And whether you want to join the classes or not, you can still get the Oracle deck and again, get a lot of information about all of the cards with the guidebook that comes with the deck. Now, one of the things I do want to tell you absolutely is if you are interested in this deck, you want to make sure that you click on the pre-order link right away. I believe that that will be available to you on September 4th. I will send out an email to my newsletter group. So if you are on my newsletter, you will get notified as soon as the link is available to pre-order. The reason I say to do the pre-order right away is because this is a limited edition deck. This was an independent project that was funded by myself. And so there are only a limited number of decks available. So if you want one, be sure to pre-order to make sure you get your copy. I cannot wait to share these cards with you. It was such an amazing journey. It will be 3 years on September 4th, on the anniversary of Reiki Radio. It will be 3 years to the day that I commissioned an artist to help me bring the vision of this deck to life. So yeah, there are so many cards. They're so beautiful. Just to give you a couple of examples, this card is the Seeker. And this is what the back of the cards look like. The elements are there. And you can't tell in here, but the texture of the cards is just beautiful. This is one of the cards, and you can see in the background there's binary. It's a throat chakra card. But that binary code in the background is a Rumi quote, which you'll learn more about in the book. And I was surprised that the artist took the time to actually do that for me. My mind was blown. But yeah, we have so many different cards. This is the Strength card. In tarot would be the Strength card, but in this deck it's called the Dragon. So many beautiful cards. I cannot wait to share more of this, all of this with you. Be sure to click again the order link as soon as it goes live, which should be September 4th. And it's just, I'm overly grateful for your presence and all that I have learned from everyone in the community, and the fact that this engagement and exchange between all of you through the years is even what inspired me to really want to create this deck, to have something to share that supports us, energetic alchemists, energy healers on our paths. That's what inspired this deck. I wanted a deck that really spoke to the work that we do, that supports us in clarifying our path, our purpose, our passions. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you all soon. Have a beautiful September. Bye for now.